Howdy, soldiers. Ooh, someone's got the robe with the big sleeves on. Someone's feeling dramatic today. Now, I made a video a long time ago, last summer, that was about some underrated books, about the fact that everyone has those core ones. This year, The Hate U Give and To All the Boys I Loved Before are just dominating the social media charts based on like book stuff and online and movies and pop culture. Everybody's coming in for the same couple of books. There's more than that. 5 Feet Apart. What's another one that's big this year? King of Scars and Kingdom of Ash, that just people are pushing hardcore because these are big books. They're being hyped. They are everywhere. They're in the movies. They're getting books. They're on sales. Just everybody is constantly talking about just these few books. And I'm tired of it. I'm so freaking tired of it. I just want to stop hearing about To All the Boys I Loved Before. Yes, some of these books are really great and they're popular for a reason, but there are so many other books that deserve your love and attention. So today's video, I'm going to go over a couple more books that are highly underrated, yet absolutely delightful and really deserve your eyeballs on them. The first one of which actually kicked off this whole video idea, and that is The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi. I know. Online, especially Twitter, everyone was about this book. Everyone was hyping this book. This was big, this was bombastic, and when it came out, and then it just disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. Where's all the hype? Hello? Hype? Where'd the hype go? It all disappeared. This book is beyond fantastic. It takes place in 1800s France, and it's a bit of a heist novel with a South Asian main character, a ton of diversity. There's a black love interest. There is a autistic main character who is so good. There's magic and mystery and math. And dare I say, I actually enjoyed everything about this book. Usually I would not touch math with a 10-foot pole, but somehow she made this work amazingly, and she incorporated magic and math into a way that I was so engaged with. Sounds so wrong me saying, but it was. Like, oh, the angle that this spell has to hit that thing to make that lever move, or, you know, oh, this special formula is good for, you know, this particular spell to go to work, and like this spiral has to do with this certain kind of magic sense. And so if by chance this book dropped off your radar, here it is again, bright and shiny. Put it back on there, #1, top, Goodreads. Just go do it. This second book is one of my favorites of all time, and that's saying something, and that is Angel File by Susan E. The YA community is freaking sleeping on this book. This is one of my favorite books, and it's so dark, and it's so creepy, and it's so twisted. It has to do with angels and demons and the apocalypse, and also some like weird sci-fi, creepy, genetically modified scorpion flying monster mabobs. Super great. Especially over the last year or so, there's been a giant wave of dark fantasy, and everyone wants it, everyone's buying it, all the publishers want it, and I'm like, yes please, just keep shoveling that on my plate. But nobody talks about Angel Fall. This is one of the first super dark YA books that I ever read, and I loved it, and that is what made me fall in love with all this dark fantasy stuff. It's like the apocalypse is happening, and there's angels coming from who knows where, and then like some demons, and then a magic sword, and then also, some amazing diverse characters, and like one of the characters' little sisters is in a wheelchair, and someone is like has mental illness, and oh my gosh, that character is so creepy, and the main character is such a badass that it was just such a unique story that completely came together, and it was so dark and gritty and creepy that this is just something that I keep holding up stuff to standard. Like, I keep looking for the next thing that is like this, and I haven't found one yet, and no one knows about the first one. But if fantasy isn't really your thing, how about a cool retelling? Because that seems to be a big thing now. Everyone loves retellings. I love a good retelling. How about a retelling of a classic, and that is Brightly Burning by Alexa Dawn, which is a super cool sci-fi retelling of Jane Eyre, which really blew me away. As a classic lit major, you know, I get it. I get that it's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everybody loves the old classics like Jane Eyre or Pride and Prejudice or whatever, and like, oh my god, have I ever had to slog through a couple of those old ones during my degree. But Jane Eyre is actually a pretty dope book. I love how Alexa Dawn really connected and like drew the parallels between the original and this like sci-fi version, which is super neat, but she did it in a way that was not predictable, which is hard to do, especially with such a particularly famous old piece of literature. I'm not a huge sci-fi person, but this was great because it was like just enough space, you know. There was like some space mumbo jumbo, and then there's like, I think there's like a laser gun in there at one point, and like some airlock stuff, and I'm like, all right, I can do that. Yeah, that's fine, I can do that. But then like, literature references too, and I'm like, I can do that. And then one of the best contemporaries that I read last year that nobody talks about, possibly because it has a pretty intense theme to it, but that is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. We have serious topics at hand like rape within a relationship, your personal identity, sexuality, relationship abuse, public image, but all of those things are really important, and I think the way that Ashley Herring Blake wrote this book, really well done, and it incorporated it really well into like a real world scenario. A lot of issue books tend to just pick and choose one thing and then that's the entire story and that's it, but this branched out really well and kind of drew a full world, a full, you know, the Milky Way, what am I thinking of? Like, you get a universe. Yeah, it made like a full universe of a whole bunch of different issues that could be going on in a person's life, conceivably. And she made it this one beautiful book that has just, it's so good, so many good connections at the end, a lot of like heartfelt things, a lot of real world fucked up issues that just made it all into this one just lovely, lovely contemporary. And since I know the sun is also a star, is just exploding now, like a literal star, I guess. Bad science jokes, haha, space jokes. If you want another book that has to do with identity and cultural issues, this is a really good one to pick up next. And then an oldie, but a goodie, a fantastic fantasy novel that got hyped a lot at the very beginning, and then just no one talks about it anymore, which is bad, because now this new generation of young adult people are going in and reading, and they need to know this, so make sure to recommend this one to people. That is Girl of Fire and Thorns by Rae Carson. So we have a bit of a classic twist on, you know, the chosen one. There's a girl, she's a princess, she's gonna be wed to this king because she has a magic jewel. But then it completely turns it on its head because the main character does not look or act like a typical princess or YA heroine. It is made very clear in the first couple chapters that she is depressed and she loves to eat, so she is very overweight. She's also very blunt, does not like talking to people, and would rather sit in on the military meetings than actually have to do all the princessy fluffy stuff. As you go through this novel, it's so wonderful to have a main character change so much, but it's not changed on I became thin and beautiful, so suddenly everything's happy glory. Like, it's wonderful to see her struggle and come into herself and come in to be like, yes, I am a princess and I'm gonna do the thing, goddammit. And I'm like, yes, you can, girl, you freaking do that thing. So there's fantasy, but then there's also like real world, like struggles for certain people that I feel like could really connect with this. And this is just such a great series overall that has a wonderful character arc that kind of just skews your expectations. Like, it takes your expectations and it goes, I see you there. I'm gonna send you down that road instead. And I quite liked it. And lastly, oh, got that good sleeve action going there, is a stunning book that I still can't believe flew under the radar for this long, and that is Blanca Roja by Anna Marie McLemore. This is another retelling of one of my favorite stories of all time, which is The Wild Swans, and this is a Latinx magic realism type book. It has to deal with a family where whenever twins are born, one of them will ultimately be like sacrificed and turned into a swan, and it's the two sisters who love each other so much that they are trying to break this curse. And along the way trying to break this curse, we meet the love interests, which also have a bit of magic to them. We have a beautiful cultural representation, we have beautiful storytelling, the writing in here is gorgeous, and there's also gay, lesbian, and non-binary characters in here, which I love so much. I feel like it actually added a lot to that storyline without drawing attention to, oh, this is a book about this particular character, and that's it. Like, no, it was just so seamlessly integrated into this book. Like, if you have that friend that's read everything, this is the one to give them, because it's just beautiful, inside and out. So there you have it. There are some more underrated books, so please leave down below your own recommendations, because I'm always looking for more. It's YA, it's like a new book is hyped every week, basically, and it's hard to keep up, and some just like mediocre ones, or like, I guess, what's the word? The really commercial ones, they get boosted for obvious reasons, because they're commercial, but then there's some really good gems that just get completely swept away, never to be heard from again, and I want to read them all because they're gems for a reason. You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!